Hi there. Today we're going to look at ARCO compliance, specifically client registration profile. Now, client registration profile has many benefits. The major one being that you have all legal entities, all VAT registration and VAT groups in one location. It also allows you to create and add new ones with very little effort. So we're now going to look into the application to see this functionality. If we look here on the left-hand side, you'll see we have the option here for registrations. As mentioned, within here, you'll have a list of all your VAT groups and legal entities currently set up in the application. We can search for an existing VAT group, we can add a new one, or we can click in here to see an existing one. Within here, you'll see we have all the information up the top part, and in the bottom section, we have a list of all legal entities and declaration schedules currently set up. It's important to note that any legal entity that is linked to this VAT group will inherit the declaration schedule set up within here. We can add additional ones. We can also stop an existing declaration schedule at the VAT group level, as well as being able to edit. Now, we will go into this in a little bit more detail in the legal entity. If we go back to our registrations, again, we can search for a legal entity. We can add a new legal entity, or we can click in here to see an existing one that we've set up here. Up the top here, you'll have all the information that's been set up for that legal entity, which is editable. And in the below section, you'll have a list of all VAT registrations currently set up. You can add additional ones here, but for the purpose of this demo, we're going to click into the one that we've already set up. Up the top section, again, it's all the VAT registration details that we've previously set up. Most of the fields here are editable. It's important to note, though, that the go live date and VAT registration are not. The go live date is a very important field here when setting up a VAT registration, as this is how ARCO will know when to start pulling documents into the application. So in the example here, we have January the 1st, 2025. We will look at the posting date of all documents, and we will pull anything with a posting date from January the 1st, 2025 up till today's date to pull in all historical data. And then we will continuously pull data and documents in every day. So you will have access to live data. In the below section here, again, we have a similar tab here to the VAT group, declaration schedules. But what you'll see here is two additional tabs here, taxpayer and VAT representative. These are country driven and depend on whether there's requirements in your XML or your export for your government authority. So in the instance here, we have a Belgian VAT registration. There is requirements here to include taxpayer and VAT representative details. If we click in here, you'll see here we have the stop functionality. So we can stop a declaration schedule by choosing the period to stop from. There is logic within this screen here to ensure that when stopping a schedule, that if there is any documents linked to the period you're stopping from, we won't allow that. And that's to ensure that there's no orphaned documents sitting in the ARCO compliance tool. So in this instance, you would have to go in and either change the tax period for that document or exclude. We can add an additional declaration schedule here, or we can click in here to edit this one. Within this screen here, it's very similar to the add functionality. The only difference would be that you can't edit your declaration type and you have your reporting periods below. In the table, you'll see that we have your type, frequency chosen, start date, end date for that period, whether this period has a permanent extension or not, and the filing deadline date, which is calculated in the background. It's important to note within here, you'll see a list of all reporting periods at minimum from 12 months from today. And that's to ensure that users can come in here and they can see what the next reporting period is, to ensure filing deadline day is correct, to ensure all the details in here are correct. and the system will automatically calculate the next reporting period. So another thing to note is that I did make a change to this one. So you see we've changed from monthly to quarterly midway through 2026. The next reporting period that will be created will be Q2 2027. And you'll also notice that the filing deadline date is different because our calculation is different for a monthly versus quarterly. The fields up the top here, as mentioned, this has a lot of intuitive logic within here to ensure that users don't create the wrong schedules based on the country and the declaration type. So filing frequency, for example, we only have monthly and quarterly here. If I was to go into a UK registration, I would see staggered quarterly, and for other registrations, you might see slightly different. Our month selector, again, a lot of rules, restrictions within here to ensure that we're not setting up or editing a declaration schedule for the wrong month. So for a quarterly declaration schedule, you must set it up on a month that we deem applicable for a quarterly start. So if I was to choose February, the system won't allow me, and it will prompt me to choose January, April, and so on, because we deem them a quarterly period start month. We already went through the default deadline. So again, this toggle here will determine whether to apply a permanent extension. Again, we calculate the filing deadline date in the background, whether you're applying a permanent extension or not. We're briefly going to look at another registration here that we had linked to the VAT group we looked at earlier on. So you'll see here we have the VAT group here, the start date, and you'll see indicated by the G that this registration is inheriting the VAT group declaration schedule. Again, a lot of logic in here to stop a user from being able to add another periodic VAT return, which would create a conflict with two declaration schedules, and the system wouldn't know which to apply to. So we don't allow you to do that. If you wish to do that, you'll either have to set your VAT group end date to unlink from the VAT group, or you'll have to go in and stop the VAT group declaration schedule. One final piece then is to note that all of the functionality that I've shown here today is heavily restricted from our user control section here on the side to ensure that only certain people can come in here and do all of these actions. Again, as it's massively important to how ARCO compliance runs with reporting schedules and pulling in data, you only want certain people within your organization to be able to do this. Thank you very much for listening. I hope you found this helpful. If you would like any more information or require a further demo, you can reach out to us on our website, meridianglobalservices.com.